Ready to go?
I'm ready. Are you guys ready?
All right. Good morning, everybody. We have the HeBS team, Ashke, and Jason here. A couple of our team know them very well since they've been working with them this semester. And I will say this has been, I don't want to jinx you guys, but this is always my favorite lecture of the semester, is what these guys do. So they change it every time, so it's always new to me. So I think you'll enjoy the time with these guys today. So without further ado, and I have all the biography stuff is in my PowerPoint, so if you want to look up their info, and I'm sure Jason, if you need to contact me, contact me if you have any questions after.
Yes, man.
Without further ado, let me introduce, take it away, Jason.
Great. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Professor Mosier. It's nice to be here. Get some business cards and afterwards if you like. It's good to be back at NYU. I was walking through Washington Square Park. I saw a gentleman that looked like dressed up as Abe Lincoln. I thought that was very inspirational. And the closer I saw him, I saw him rolling a joint, which I thought was interesting.
Inspirational.
So it's good to be back at NYU, right? So this Professor Mosier said that we've got always introducing new content, and I have new content to cover, but I also want this to be a bit more of a dialogue. And the topics that we'll talk about today include not only what we do, but how do we get to where we are today, and more as a company. And then if we want, we can pivot into some discussion about some strategy and our globalization, our growth in the global market, and what your fellow students are doing to help us with that. So I thought maybe I'd start with a little bit about how our company got to where we are as, I like to think, a leading web marketing, web technology, and consulting firm in the hospitality industry. So I'd like either a volunteer or I'll call on someone to read something very brief, but do I have any volunteers? Any takers? It's an email that I just want you to read out loud to everyone and to the community. I'm going to ask you to do it. So could you stand up and read to everyone what this email says?
Yes, Xavier, when I first started sex sports, everyone knew my story, but it's been 15 years and most Xaviers don't know why we do what we do. My office at Marshall McLennan was on the 96th floor of the World Trade Center's North Tower. On September 11th, 2001, I was running late when I heard an explosion. Looking up, I saw smoke, flames, and people jumping from where my office used to be. I don't know how long I stood there, but after the second plane hit, mass hysteria broke out and I ran. I met up with my girlfriend, now wife, at her office, and we walked home, desperately trying to make sense of what had happened.
Excellent. Thank you. What's your name?
Gabriella.
Gabrielle. Thank you very much. Okay, so this email that Gabrielle is reading to you is from a gentleman by the name of Robert Herzog. I met Robert Herzog only once, and it was through sports, through playing sports. Robert Herzog is a real person, and as he's describing here, he started a company called Zog Sports. Zog Sports, you may see people around the city wearing these t-shirts that say Zog Sports. It's a club. It's for young professionals if they want to play basketball or volleyball or any kind of sports. It's a way to build community and have people come together. So he starts out by talking about how he worked in the World Trade Center and he was running late and he saw the building collapse on the day of 9/11. And he continues on talking about a little bit about survivor's guilt because he lost most of his colleagues. And then he, in essence, went on a trip just to sort of get away from everything. And he says here, I looked at my pina colada and I thought to myself, okay, Robert, the glass is half empty. But what would the glass look like if it was half full? So he goes on to talk about how so he says, let me just continue a little bit more. So I met my wife while playing co-ed softball. I love the camaraderie of being on a team. I saw that post 9/11, the city was full of people looking and acting altruistically. This is where I got the epiphany to start a company, an organization called Zog Sports. Our mission is to bring people together, create highlights, and make a difference. The company I created has a bigger purpose. We are a company with a soul. We care so much about our experience that it pains us when we fail. Sometimes it is hard to differentiate Zog Sports from other leagues, but what makes us different is that we actually care about your experience and about the communities in which we play, which is why we have a fundraising component and have raised over $3 million since our founding, contributing to partnerships and donations to local schools and parks. As I reflect on the sadness of 9/11, I also reflect on the legacy of good we've created. I'm proud to announce that we've now become a certified partner and with other corporations and doing partnerships and so on and so forth. So what he sent out to everyone who's ever done anything with Zog Sports. And every season I would play basketball, so I was in the Zog Sports League for basketball. And so my point is that the last time I spoke to your class, someone asked about how our company is growing, how we're managing the growth, and one of my comments was that I'm concerned about that we're losing some of the heritage of my company and our foundings. I'm going to share with you our foundings. But I thought this illustration of another company and how they started their heritage and what their values are all about, and how 15 years later, they're one of the fastest growing corporate, young professional athletic organizations across the country. They have locations now in Boston, in Atlanta, in Dallas, in San Francisco, and so on, where young professionals want to continue being interactive, building a community, participate in sports, do something athletic, but also altruistic. So I wanted to share this email, this letter of heritage to you. So let me take a moment and share with you how HeBS Digital, who we are and how we got to where we are today. So HeBS Digital is a hospitality, digital marketing, technology, and strategy company. And our focus is in helping hoteliers grow their direct online revenue channel. And what that means is basically looking at their website and trying to drive more traffic to their website and get more customers to book directly through their website. Why is that important? So can anyone in this room answer the question, how much does a hotelier pay Expedia for a reservation? Does anyone know what the average commission is for an OTA booking, an online travel agency booking? 18%? 18%? Yeah. What was it? Between what? Around 20. Yeah. So depending on the size of your brand, depending on how many properties you have, determines what kind of negotiating power you have. So in the United States, approximately 35% of hotels are independents. They're really small brands or independents. The rest are all franchise properties. So for those 35% in North America that are independents, you're really one hotel trying to negotiate with an OTA. So let's just use an easy number, 20%. Okay, 20%. So let's say the ADR of the hotel is $200. 2-night stay, $400. How much of that money goes to Expedia? $80, almost $100, $80. Right. Then you have the credit card transaction fee and some incidentals and all that. $100. So you could say as much as a quarter of every dollar that comes in is going out to the OTAs. So now you multiply that out, and you as the hotel operator look at your mortgage, and you look at your payroll, and you look at your overall overhead and structural costs. You have to pay that every month, and here, for every dollar that's coming in, 25 cents is going back out to basically a platform that helped introduce you to your customer. Now, does anyone know what the average cost of a direct online booking is, approximately? Yeah, through your own website. So it can be approximately around 4%. So for that $400 booking, you're paying about $16. That's on average. You know, for smaller hotels, smaller structural costs, you're looking at, could be as low as 2%, 3%. So clearly the cost of selling direct versus the cost of selling through the OTAs is much different. And I'm sure you've covered this in your distribution classes and your revenue management classes and all that. But taking that concept and applying it to the online channel has not been an easy exercise for the hotel industry. If you roll the clock back before the internet, the hospitality industry was very much a conservative industry. They would simply, the general manager would unlock the door every morning and the customers would come in because travel agents were selling the room nights, or they'd have a big billboard along the highway. Over time, as the internet became the dominant channel, a lot of brick and mortar travel agencies closed shop. The cost to advertise became more expensive. Print advertising is always more expensive. So the point is that the hoteliers were caught off guard in terms of how to use the internet and understand how to use the internet as a marketing channel. So our goal was to help do that. So a little bit about our heritage and where we got to where we are today. If we roll the clock back to 1995, when the internet became very much an e-commerce channel, there were a few industries that quickly adopted the internet, and pharmaceutical was one of them. So they have big bucks, they have deep pockets, they could take chances and take risks and try this thing called the internet. I keep reading about it, what is this thing? So the pharmaceutical industry were early adopters in marketing messages, and it was right around the time when the FDA allowed that pharmaceuticals could advertise on TV. This hadn't always been the case. So 94, 95, 96 is when not only TV, but internet could be a marketing channel for pharma. And around that time, I met a gentleman, and the two of us started an eBay-like business in the travel space. And then from there, we created an online reservation system for hoteliers who had websites, which were really just online brochures with a little booking engine capability on it. It was a much different landscape than it was today. So everything was fine until 9/11. So 9/11, this guy started this business, which was creating a social organization. And we got together and said, listen, we've learned a lot from our experience helping hoteliers market online, my experience in the pharmaceutical industry, marketing online, our ability to create a booking engine system to help hoteliers sell online, was all of a sudden something very important. Because after 9/11, the industry was in a situation that didn't seem like it could ever rebound from. So a lot of hoteliers started contracting with Hotels.com and Expedia and the third parties. And what ultimately happened is that many hotels ended up having to either reorganize, restructure, lay people off, or rethink their business model in its entirety. So today we have hotels, and here's a very practical example. We have a client in Chicago that's a third generation owned hotel. It's actually an Asian family. They're from China. And the grandfather was in the room with his son and his granddaughter. And right now the granddaughter is managing the hotel. It's a beautiful, luxury, historic hotel in Chicago, the Whitehall. And the granddaughter, who's a little bit older than me, has been running the hotel for several years now, but she grew up in the hotel and is trained in the hospitality industry. The grandfather and the father were speaking, and they were basically saying that the business has changed. And the business has changed so much so that I don't know if this business will continue on to my great-grandson. This prize that when I came to America, I had nothing. And I worked hard, and I saved, and I bought this landmark, and we revitalized it. And what we have today is the pride of Chicago, and 60% of my revenue is through Expedia. I can't make payroll some months. I'm on a cash flow deficit. How do I, as an independent hotelier, survive in this environment? And so internally, we're very sympathetic because this is exactly what we saw after 9/11. And this is, in many respects, very much what our heritage as a company has been all about. It's helping the hotelier fight back and rebuild its true value as an asset, a physical asset. And the number one driver to do that is through people staying in your hotel. But when the cost of people staying has an outflow of funds to the OTAs through these expensive toll takers, then how do you actually meet the budget? You can't charge more than the market allows. Your competitors are charging $200, you're forced to charge $200. So the point is that hoteliers that have embraced the online channel as a revenue distribution channel is something that really separates you apart from the competition. So we concluded that meeting with basically a marketing strategy, which was looking at your website, looking at your performance of the online channel, trying to identify where the weaknesses are with your website, look at your marketing budget and how you're marketing out there on the online channels, and then basically start over, start from scratch, because the practices you've been performing and the information that you've been running on is simply either outdated or broken. And our company specializes in helping hotel companies build their direct online revenue channel. Okay. So again, just not to harp too much more on the heritage of our company, but it's really these cases where it's that family-owned business that comes to us and says, we need help. We need help in weaning off of the dependencies of the OTAs, helping us build and grow market share through the direct channel online, and helping us grow rate, grow ADR, and basically employ the best practices. Because all of you, when you travel, you're not going to a brick and mortar travel agency and walking in and making an appointment and then coming back when your appointment is ready to talk about where you want to travel. You take out a device like this, and then how does that hotelier in Chicago have an opportunity to fight for that business? So, any comments about what I've discussed so far, that heritage of our company and sort of the foundation of why we exist? Any questions about the online channel and the direct versus the indirect and the OTAs?
Just one question.
Yeah.
When client asks you about the help boosting the direct marketing, and maybe they will expect like after your service, they will expect that their revenue will increase. So when you make a contract or something, and then they just ask you how much percent they're expecting after your service they want to do.
Right. So the question is basically, what is the expected return from the investment that they're going to make?
Exactly. Yeah. That's
Right. So we actually, as a company, can guarantee a 25% increase in your investment. I'm sorry, 25% increase in the return from the investment you make when you come to us. And we guarantee that if we don't live up to it, then we will provide additional services and other revenue incentives to make up for the shortfall. We're that confident that with our methodology, with our technology, with our strategy, you can see a 25% increase from what you've been doing today. All right, so let's dig a little bit further into this concept of cost structure, and where we are. So I'm going to, where's the clicker? Here? Yeah. All right. So we're now in 2016, heading into 2017, and there's a lot of, the liquidity markets have eased up a lot, so there's a lot of new development going on. If you're reading the newspapers, there's always like a new hotel or a new mixed-use facility going on around the country, especially in our Tier 1 cities. After this meeting, I'm going to meet with our client, the Watergate Hotel. Their headquarters is here, but the Watergate, the famous Watergate in Washington, D.C., this capital fund owns it. And we did an analysis in Washington, D.C. alone. We now have the Trump Hotel. You have a Ritz-Carlton that's expanding. You have a new Intercontinental that's opening up. There's about, I think there's about 1,380 new rooms opening up in DC over the next 12 months, or has opened up, including the Watergate. And of that, the majority is the luxury class. So here's a hotel owner that spent $125 million in revitalizing and renovating this gorgeous historic hotel called the Watergate. And they're running at approximately 20% occupancy. 20% occupancy. Okay, they're hemorrhaging money right now. And these aren't stupid people. They recognize the challenges that they're facing. They've opened up in a market that is getting overcrowded with luxury rooms. The demand is not there to meet the supply. And they're having to, and then of course they already have a base cost structure that they have to meet, so they can't just sell rooms for $99. So we're helping them through, from a digital standpoint, marketing, building marketing campaigns and creative campaigns to help them start building more of a direct channel. Because right now they don't really have much of a voice or presence online. And this Washington, D.C. scenario is very consistent with the rest of the country. And just to share with you some key metrics, the supply forecasted and the supply and demand current and next year is going to be fairly flat. Whatever new supply that's going to come on board will be consistent with whatever demand that's going to come on board. So if we know from Economics 101, if there's more supply and less demand, then you have the drop rate. If there's more demand and less supply, then you can jack up rate. But if supply and demand are going to be fairly constant, then it's going to be very hard for you to push rate. Okay? And we see this across the board, that there's a fairly consistent, and there's a potential impact to the revenue performance, profitable performance. And then here's a snapshot of the marketplace, and we're looking at very much an oversupply in major tier 1 cities. So if you're in the capital market, then this is a good time, the environment has changed and we feel more comfortable loaning money out for more developments. But there's been such a groundswell, partially to make up for the freeze that's going on since 2008. But if you're a hotel like that Chicago property that's been around for a long time, and you have these new hotels that are popping up, and maybe they can have an opening rate that's less than yours, then that's going to start stealing and biting into your market share. So those are very real numbers that when you go out there looking for a job at a hotel, you should be cognizant about the supply and demand in your own particular market. So oversupply equals negative growth in top markets. So New York, Miami, Chicago are examples of where the room volume to occupancy growth and what the impact will be downturn. So any hotel that's opening up in these markets should expect significant challenges in trying to reach profitability. And now we also know something called Airbnb. So of all the demand that's coming to your city, some of it's being sapped out just from alternative forms of housing. And I don't know if you caught, there's an article this week about how Airbnb is now starting to court the corporate traveler. And we're not talking about just the small and medium-sized business, but there's a possibility that they're going to make inroads to the Fortune 500. Sounds crazy, but let them, if they feel like they have a confident business model to achieve, and there's an opportunity for the corporation to save money, and there's a population of employees that are willing to try these alternative housing, if it saves money in the bottom line for that corporation, then why not give it a try? How they're going to actually execute it is wait and see. But you can see here that Airbnb in the last 12 months has been, an incredible amount of inventory that is available, and what revenue has been generated from that could have been applied to the hotel industry directly. So hotels are losing market share to the OTAs. That's another fact. And here's a very interesting stat. So there's a company called Calibri Labs. And Calibri Labs is a consulting company that analyzes the OTA consumption on hotels. They look at all different revenue channels. So in your own research, they do some great things. So in your own classwork, look at their research. There might be something applicable there. Calibri Labs. And so what she's saying is that back in 2011, for every booking on an OTA, there were 4.3 bookings on a hotel website. And where we are today, there's about, for every hotel booking, there's around 2.7 bookings on a hotel website. So the trend is against the hotelier in online transactions. More of the consumers are looking to the third parties and are transacting on the third parties. So you as a hotelier trying to maintain a voice and a presence out there on the web, it's working against you so far, which is unfortunate. Expedia published a study in collaboration with Cornell called the billboard effect. Are you familiar with the billboard effect? Yeah. And so the whole idea was that if you have a presence on Expedia, people will see it and then they'll go to the website and book directly. So you should pay and advertise on Expedia. And of course, Expedia, there's an underlying advantage by doing that. Expedia makes money off that advertising. The reality is, and they're smart people, and the Cornell professor, I think, was exposed because the project was underwritten by Expedia, is a very biased report, demonstrating that actually that's not the case. People who go to Expedia, they're probably going to stay on Expedia to complete that reservation. So there's no such thing as the billboard effect. Billboard meaning you drive down the highway, you see a sign, oh, I'll stay at that hotel, and then you go off on you now at the next exit, stay at that hotel. And the idea is now you're on the superhighway, the internet, you see a billboard ad on Expedia, then you will leave Expedia and go to Book Direct. Again, it's turned out to be a fallacy. So the trend is towards it. So you've got now an environment where there's oversupply, you're not able to push rate, your ADR and your RevPAR will be impacted, and you've got something called Airbnb that's sapping out another percentage of demand that would be staying in your hotel, and you've got this over-influence of the OTAs. Great business to be in, right? You know, for the hospitality industry, it's not too late. Maybe you guys can now become like doctors or lawyers because it's not too late to get out of the travel industry. I'm joking. There's a lot of opportunity, a lot of fun, but these are true and realistic demands and changes that are going on in our environment. So, in some respects, nothing's changed. Things are still hard for the hotel industry. So whether you're 2011, 2016, or 2001, when we started our company, nothing has changed. We're still focused on helping the hotelier grow its direct online revenue channel. And we have plenty of cases and plenty of clients who've succeeded beautifully in growing. Not only that, but now they're on acquisition strategies to expand their portfolio. So the ones who can do it right, and it's not just companies like us, I mean there's companies like us, but there's lots of companies out there that are helping the industry fight back and push back and grow their business through the web. All right, so with that said though, these challenges and this wind and pressure against the backs of the hotelier, what are we talking about here? So in terms of revenue that's not going in the hands of the operating of the hotel, we're looking at approximately, this is the amount of shift that the OTAs are commanding away from the bottom line of the hotelier. So big dollars that could go to bonuses, to renovations, to linens, to replacing the rugs, to changing the boiler, to helping the hotel operate, to reward the employees and the staff and the management that's running the hotel. I don't know about you, but the hospitality industry is in many respects an underpaid business. And furthermore, there's enormous turnover in our industry. Part of it is not because the owners are greedy, it's simply they have certain budgets to achieve, and the salaries are simply not there, or the bonuses are not necessarily there because they're being sapped out by cases like this. So how can a hotelier grow profitability? I mean, in your other classes, I'm sure you've addressed the structural costs of running a hotel. So here are 6 primary costs that a hotelier has to face. Right? You've got labor costs, we just talked about salary impact. Debt service, you've got a loan from the bank, you have to pay the mortgage every month. Franchise fees, if I'm a Marriott or a Courtyard, I have to pay the franchise fees every year. On the gross revenue, even though Marriott only contributed, say, 35% of my room nights, I'm still paying 5% on my gross revenue. All the reservations I made above and beyond what Marriott had contributed. Utilities, energy costs, right? Gas, electricity, real estate taxes, the city taxes that they take money out of your revenue to pay for the convention center and the roads and the airports and all that, sports facilities, new stadiums going up. And of course the distribution costs, the OTAs, the channels that you're selling through, every one of them takes a cut. If you work with tour operators, they take a percentage. If you work with a brick and mortar travel agency, they take a percentage. If you work with an OTA, of course they take a percentage. All those toll takers to process that reservation. Can anyone identify on here, it's not a trick question, but is there one element here that you think the hotelier could actually influence? And that they could directly influence on this, of these 6 categories? Which one is in the hotelier's control that could directly influence the performance? I think I might have heard it over here. Distribution. And why is that?
You can have an effect, like you can't impact utilities because they're kind of fixed. There's
Right.
not much you can do. You cannot impact that much taxes, but in distribution costs you can actually employ different strategies to try to lower those costs.
Very good. Anyone disagree? Does everyone agree? Okay, seems reasonable, right? Survey says, correct. Your distribution costs. And how do you affect your distribution? Well, one of them is to invest in the online channel, which is, again, what we're all about. So when that family was in our office talking about, you know, all these aspects that impact their bottom line, and why the grandfather questioned whether this hotel, this business will continue its continuity in the family, it's because of these 6 scenarios. And we help them understand that really there's some things that are in your control and some things that aren't. And just looking at how your distribution is currently running, here's an area where you can make significant impact. And so proudly, this hotel a year later is much better off and well on its feet. The grandfather is sleeping better at night from what I hear because the business, the shifting of the channels, the investments that they've made are starting to generate the return that we all have anticipated. So why don't I stop there again, do like a quick check. How is everyone? Any questions so far? Any comments? No?
Jason, could you just answer, I see how you help independent properties. Do you guys take on branded properties at all, or is it totally done by?
We do. So let's talk for a moment about branded properties. So what if you're a Courtyard Inn, or even a Marriott or Intercontinental, and you're part of the Vega brand, help me share with us, someone offer, like, what does a big brand do well for the hotel? I'm a hotel in Poughkeepsie, New York. Corporate Marriott is in Maryland, I think it is. What is corporate Marriott helping me that I couldn't do? Yeah.
Reputation, identification, brand image.
Yeah. Yeah. What about loyalty? Yeah. What, is there anything else? What about corporate business, that Fortune 500 I mentioned? If you're Hewlett Packard or you're Microsoft and you're IBM with 125,000 employees and you're an independent property, you're going to be able to make an appointment with a corporate traveler at Microsoft and say, yeah, you know, I got this hotel in Poughkeepsie, 80 rooms, includes breakfast and parking. Can I get your employees to stay with me? They're not going to even give you the time of day. So the brands are good at the Fortune 500, right? Getting that corporate business. You could say the same with big conferences and conventions, seminars, sales launches, product launches. You know, the hotel that has the big venue space could meet the needs of IBM's latest product launch, you know, to its entire sales team. The pharmaceutical company Pfizer wants to make they've created a new product and they want to go through a whole training. For the next 3 days, we need to occupy 10,000 room nights, plus conference and venue space, plus F&B, all that kind of stuff. So that independent hotel in Poughkeepsie is never going to have a bite at that apple. It's the reality. What else do the brands do well for the franchisee? Let's talk about that reputation. So you're absolutely right, the reputation. It's a Marriott. I know what I'm getting with a Marriott, a certain level of quality and service and all that kind of stuff, right? That's great, because I'm going to stay there Monday through Friday. And that hotel probably says, I'm all set Monday through Friday. But Marriott's not sending any business Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And those are my lowest and their weakest points. So there are things that the brands do very well. Corporate and group business, midweek stays, the loyalty, right? It's a loyalty program. If I'm hurting, I could market to these zip codes within the loyalty program and send out a promotion. They may be able to reach that loyal member. But when it comes to small business meetings, weekend business, holidays, you know, it's Christmas time. In January and February in New York City, it's empty. Where are the brands in helping those hotels during those down periods? So to answer your question, depending on the type of hotel and the competition in your market, and what I mean by competition is, have you ever gone to Marriott.com and typed in New York City Hotel and Marriott.com? There are 135 hotels that come up. Sorry, you have to add another 45 hotels because of Mount Starwood. So if I'm the owner of that one hotel in Connecticut, that's a Marriott. Oh no, I'm sorry, not Connecticut. Westchester, Salmon, Westchester. I am crowded with almost 200 other hotels, and you think that Marriott corporate really cares about me? They care about the portfolio from an environment, from a global standpoint. So Marriott doesn't own its properties. They're owned by typically real estate investors or asset management groups or individuals and so on. So you as the owner of that asset, you're that single hotel, or maybe you even have more than one Marriott in the area. You are one of almost 200 hotels in the general area. So how much traffic and dependency can I have purely on the brand to provide that business? And that's where we would recommend basically what we call a vanity strategy. And a vanity strategy starts with creating a vanity website and then looking at the need periods and the seasonality and the kind of customers that they want to get that's incremental to the business that's already coming into the area, and then building marketing campaigns and strategies to go after that. So if you're a Marriott and you need help on the weekends, then girlfriend's getaway, romance packages, family night at the Marriott. There's many sorts of creative marketing campaigns that you can create. I need midweek help. Okay, so put up a midweek promotion, a business midweek promotion, only available for your profile, your type of property, your type of business. Weddings, bar mitzvahs, seasonal events, cocktail receptions. You think Marriott Corporate is marketing that on your behalf to the marketplace? No, it's all left up to you. Furthermore, if you ever go to Marriott.com and you look at a hotel, say you look at the hotel in Poughkeepsie, if you ever look at this long squiggly string on the top of the browser, you may be able to discern and see a number in there. So that number may be 6351. So you are property ID 6351 in the eyes of Marriott. Now just imagine if you wanted to add any copy or make a new photo, add a new photo, or create a promotion and try to get that on your pages within Marriott. I need you, corporate, to take this content and put it up on property ID 6351. They may get back to you in about 4 months. And we know that there are group cancellations and there are immediate needs and ad hoc needs. So you as a hotelier, how do I address these when I have to wait 2, 3, 4 weeks for corporate to put up a promotion? So a vanity website would enable you to do that on the fly. Okay? I hope that answers the question regarding the vanity perspective. So, any questions? Any comments regarding that? So I thought that the remaining time that we have, what I'd be happy to do is switch presentations for a second and then go further into our services and technology and some of the strategy that we do specifically. So you get a better feel for all the tools, all the weaponry, if you will, that a hotelier can have to grow and build its direct revenue channel. Does that sound good? Yeah. Good. All right.
Need help up there, Jason?
What's that?
What can I help you with?
Let's see here. It's not this one. It's an analytics discussion. It was the other one that you had. That's good day. Oh, yeah. So whenever we meet with a hotelier of any kind, we typically start with a little bit more about our capabilities. And so let me share with you, I'm going to share with you the actual presentation that we give to a prospect. So you are the hotelier. You're the skeptical hotelier. You've already dealt with agencies, you've already dealt with technology companies, you've already spent money, it's been a losing effort, you're in the hands of the OTAs, 60% of your revenue is the OTAs. Or you're simply, I never really took this seriously, or you are starting out with a new hotel that's opening up next year. Whatever your situation or condition is, you're a vanity website, you're a franchise property, and you're looking to now that, I'm now not 1/100th of a voice, now I'm 1 of 200th of a voice in my market. Help me build my revenue channel online. Because at least I know that I have experienced people booking through my website, and I've seen that the ADRs tend to be higher. They tend to be longer stays. They tend to be higher value customers. So I see an opportunity here. Hopefully, since we're heading into 2017, we're not really hearing those questions and those comments anymore, but believe it or not, there are hoteliers that still think that the internet's going to go away. So with that said, let's start with who we are and help you understand, give some context of our company. So I think we've covered this topic pretty well, and that's basically that as a hotelier, there are major challenges that you face both in the high cost and distribution of the internet, of the OTAs, the struggle to reach customers that currently are now in multi-device, multi-channel environment. I mean, we're all part of the online, always on experience, right? We're always on the web, whether we know it or not. It's that ubiquitous. I mean, I'll go put gas in my car and I see a little monitor at the gas station that's talking to me and selling me messaging and activity. So we live in a very connected, always-on world. Just a finger touch away from ordering flowers online, or from ordering sandwiches on Seamless, whatever the case may be. So we're incredibly multi-device, always-on environment. So speaking to them and navigating and building your channel to those customers is not a discipline that has been strongly embraced in our industry. Still to this day, hospitality, e-commerce, or e-marketing is what? One class at NYU? Right? Okay. This is in many respects the livelihood and the lifeline of this industry, and yet it's buried in a bigger coursework, and it's common throughout the industry. We're teaching now at the Lausanne School in Switzerland, and we're raising these issues. And to them, it's even more foreign of a concept. The internet as a power and robust marketing channel. So having the experience and having the expertise to be able to navigate and sort through that is not something you're just born with. It takes lots of time, research, and development. And then lastly, we work in an environment where I've got some groups coming in, I've got the boiler room I got to check, I've got labor issues, X, Y, Z. I don't have time or bandwidth to address these things that are very critical. I know they're important, and that's why I need to turn to an outside company that specializes in this. Okay? So that is the hotelier situation. And as you see here, to the opening statements, we talked about the cost of distribution. You had mentioned 18 to 25%. It's very realistic. Depending on the type of hotel or the size of your hotel, what kind of negotiating power will determine what the actual commission structure will be. And you can see here that we can tip the scale, and on average our portfolio is about 4.5%. Our customers achieve approximately 4.5% cost of sale through the direct channel versus the OTAs. So your question was about, do you have any kind of backing to support it? And the answer is yes. We're saying here that we will improve and boost your direct online channel contributions by 25%. And if we don't, we will make it up in the form of additional services, additional technology that we can offer, and so on. So we really do stand by this pledge. So how do we do it? We have 3 pillars of excellence, 3 categories of excellence that we offer at our company. And these are the following. There's strategy, technology, and digital marketing. Now, strategy and consulting is really the brain power. It's the people at our company. It's people like you who, when you graduate from NYU, you join companies like us, you can take, your knowledge and skill set that you've established, and we continue to develop it at our company to make you a robust problem solver. So the consulting side of our business is very important to us. A competitor once described us as the McKinsey consulting of the industry. Heads Digital is the McKinsey consulting of the industry because we become your de facto digital marketing department. There's such turnover in this industry that often the general manager or even the owners will contact us and say, yeah, we've never spoken before, but you've been with us for 3 years and we just got rid of changed management here, so we don't know what's going on. But I know I can turn to you to get the answers of what's going on in our digital channel. So what do we do here? Let's say Mandarin Oriental wants to relaunch its digital strategy, wants to go through a whole website redesign. What we can do is we can look at Mandarin Oriental and everything it's doing in the online channel and compare it against its competitive set and do a whole scoring analysis and come back with a concrete set of recommendations of where Mandarin needs to be investing over the next 12 to 24 months. It's that strategic roadmap that they're looking for, that guidance of where I should be investing, where my shortfalls are. This is true consulting analysis in the form of audits. You guys are going to do an audit evaluating some of the UK hotels as part of the class project, which I think is a very practical illustration of, at the end of the day, where do we begin? Where do we start? And that is that we have to compare ourselves on these different sets of metrics against a competing group. And based on the results, we'll know where we stand and then where we need to invest and grow from there. Right? So you have to first benchmark. So the consulting side of the business is very important to us. There are Wall Street firms that will contact us and say, hey, we want you to evaluate a property on its revenue channel. We want you to evaluate a technology in the travel space. So we do a lot of these ad hoc spot projects because, first of all, it's very challenging, it's enjoyable, it's intellectually challenging, but it also opens up doors and opportunities for exposure to things that may be coming down the pike. We also do a lot of research and development with Google, believe it or not. Google is a very important partner of ours. So we do run pilots and beta projects. They have a new marketing platform, a new application, or a new hotel channel within Google, like the hotel price ad program. So we have developed a capability to help hoteliers advertise on the hotel price ad program. So we were the first to pilot the independent properties on that. Yeah?
Just a doubt, when you say evaluation of companies, do you mean actually due diligence, just going and doing online research and gathering information and data and then?
Typically, this company projects its revenues to grow at this rate because of this marketing, this technology that they're using. Can you guys analyze whether that's accurate, whether it's priced properly, whether there really is a market for it, whether that market will adopt at the rate that they're looking for? When TripAdvisor first came out with their whole book direct pricing model, which was like a meta search application, a couple of firms contracted us to help evaluate whether the rate of growth is going to be at the level that they were projecting so that they could then advise their investors or their investor groups that this is not actually going to be growing at this rate, so we wouldn't value this company at this level, we'd value it at this level. That's exactly how a lot of Wall Street firms do the research. They actually look for specialization. There have been companies that want to break into the market with a new booking engine, a reservation system. You go to the hotel website, there's a little calendar, you put in the dates, and you click book now, and you come back with results. That's a commodity. We built the technology I mentioned to you back in 1998 doing something like that. This is a very crowded and commoditized business. The transaction levels of online bookings have continued to drop by these companies. For example, in 2000, 2001, typically a booking engine was like almost the cost of an OTA. They would charge anywhere from 10 10% or more for every booking done on their reservation system. And then over time, that became a fixed price of around $10 to $15 per booking. And then over time, that became a lower. Then it became as low as like a 3% transaction fee for every booking. And then it became a per room per month pricing. So you could see over time, the revenues of these booking engine companies began to drop because it's becoming such a compressed and commoditized business. So there was actually a company that wanted to break in with a booking engine. It's like, how many ways can you slice a piece of bread? So we did an analysis, we evaluated the technology, we tried to determine whether these bells and whistles are really a game changer, an innovation that the marketplace would adopt. And we came back with our recommendations, which was actually in this particular case negative. It didn't feel like they're going to be able to achieve what it wants to within the time frame that they had expected. Okay. So that's the whole consulting side of the business. It's actually a lot of fun. It's very intellectually challenging. It's the one that I try to embrace the most at our company and try to get other people involved. Akshay just completed a